I'm so honored to have in the studio with us today somebody who I've looked up to for many, many years, the original feminist Orthodox that I aspired to be when I first moved to this country, Dr. Aliza Lavie, former member of Knesset, a social entrepreneur, a writer, and a thought leader in the Orthodox feminist community. Aliza, it's great having you here.
Thank you. I'm so pleased to be here.
Aliza, for many, many years, I saw you in the Knesset advancing and advocating for women, which I didn't see other women do. I feel that sometimes women get into politics and they forget that they're also there to represent women. But you were different. Just share with our audience a little bit of the legislation that you did to advance women's rights in this country, because I think it's important for people to understand.
Thanks. My motto is to remember always who is not with us now and ask why. You are in the Knesset, you are in the committee, you are in the studio, whatever you are, in the university. But you have to ask, look, who is not with
Who's not in the room?
Yes. And why? And ask the questions. Israel, it's a country that we came after 2,000 years back. And each one of us has his own story, life story. Different countries, languages, customs, rituals. And I believe in women and leadership and equal rights, not because I'm thinking only about women, because I'm thinking about the Israeli society, the Jewish world. We need all the knowledge, the experience, and in a situation like this, in our days, much more ask the questions, what other women did in the past? And when you don't find answer in your life, when we both know exactly how it should be, because we familiar with our history and we know that in our past, it's not history lesson, it's the future. It's the answer for the future. More women in the room, in the class, more experience, knowledge, and the best way to decide.
I completely agree with you. And I think that what you've done very well, I think when you look at little girls, you need to give them role models because you do what you see. And if you don't see it, you don't think you can do it. When all your kids do is look up and all they see is men as leaders and not women as leaders, then it's very hard for a woman to visualize herself as a leader. And when you wrote this book, which I love, Iconic Jewish Women, to me, essentially, you put a compendium together of the incredible history of female leaders for our people, for Jewish people and the state of Israel. And this is so needed in the world for people to take inspiration from other women. You wrote this book. Aliza, I know that it's going to be difficult. It's like asking you, which child do you love the most? But what woman inspires you?
First, I would like to ask you, be honest, how many names you weren't familiar with?
Many. And I think I'm pretty knowledgeable about female Jewish leaders, but there were some names I did not recognize. So that's what's important. You also brought forth the history that is forgotten about these women.
For me, I think that, Henrietta Szold.
Yeah.
I was 50 years old when I realized that I have questions in my life, especially as a position in the parliament, leading legislations and trying, to make a better world for all of us, the tikkun, the shlichut. And when I saw that sometimes I'm alone, why is it? Why I can't convince or do this and that? And you have to be honest with yourself and find the right way to play the game and learn all the rules. And suddenly I found amazing biography that was written by Professor Dvorah Kohen about Henrietta Szold. And for me, it was the first time to understand her biography. And how come that from Baltimore she came here, and what's happened, and what is her private story? Everybody think, that she was American, ta-ta-tam, ta-ta-tam. Hey, she was a woman that her lover threw her away and took her credit from the book that he published in the ed under his name. Many, many evidences that suddenly give you the understanding that you have to take your weakness and your fail as a tool and to try to use it as way to bring the answer to the situation that you are there. And that's what she did. And she did.
Tell us about her a little bit more.
Henrietta grew up in Baltimore. Her father was a rabbi. She was clever. She saw always who is not in the room. Suddenly, it was a very well-known community, Jewish community, and suddenly Jewish people from Russia and other countries from Europe came, and they didn't know the language with dirty clothes, and everybody in the Jewish community didn't want to speak with them. And she was the only one that, for the first time, opened a class for English for them, to help them. And when in 1904 she came to Palestine, her friends in JTS, she was the first student in JTS, and sent her to Israel together with her mother because they saw that she couldn't leave the bed for more than 6 months after her lover threw her away. I don't have the time to tell you all the story. But when she came to Palestine with a delegation, nobody came back. They said, think about it, 1904, Jerusalem, the poverty here. And
there was nothing here.
Nothing here. And nobody from them came back. But she saw the eyes of the children in Jerusalem, the sickness. They couldn't even open the eyes. And she said, I'm going home and I'm going to speak with my colleagues, friends, family, and try to help these kids. And that's how she started with Hadassah. She came back.
She's the founder of Hadassah, the legendary
Liat Noah, and Tipat Chalav, and other systems that we are using till our days. And who knows why this neglected road here in Jerusalem or in Tel Aviv? Why we're not familiar with her heritage? And it's not history lesson again. It's the way she did things, sometimes, many times, among the other leaders that all of them were men.
It's interesting because I've been thinking about this for a number of years. These women, like Henrietta Szold and the Witza women like Vera Weizmann, etc., they created the infrastructure for Israel's health and social service apparatus here. Like you said, the well baby clinics, the first hospitals, whilst the men were busy doing the diplomatic work and building up an army, the women were busy saving the lives of the starving and the sick on the streets of Jerusalem and everywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And do we ever hear about, the mothers of Zionism? We always hear about the fathers of Zionism, but the mothers of Zionism created that infrastructure that we're still enjoying today.
Right. But on the other hand, we have also a diplomatic way to think about Esther the Queen. Esther the Queen, she's the only
Queen
one.
Esther.
Yeah,
yes.
Queen Esther. She's the only one that changed the destiny, the history.
It's true.
And think about her way for the first time when you didn't know anything about her from the Megillah. Yeah, she was a beauty queen, but that's it. No,
we don't know much about her. You're right.
One word, and what her parents or, family roots, nothing. And when she got an SMS from Mordechai, go to the king, and she said, what do you want from my life? How can I do it? And then she realized that if she has to go, she needs all the people with her. And for the first time in our history, she ordered to fast 3 days. 3 days. Think about it. And how it come? All the people, the Megillah of the Megillah, one nation that doesn't speak with each, we're familiar with the history. And here and there, and suddenly they found a way to be united. How she did it.
Yeah.
And more than that, she took this together and went to the king.
Yeah.
And
She saved the Jewish people
yeah,
from a genocide.
from a genocide.
It's just
So
incredible.
she did it.
Yeah.
So a diplomatic way, how she did it, two parties. She knew that the king,
She was strategic.
yes, like party, okay? He liked party, so she invited him to two parties. So think, how can we describe her, not like, another story of Megillah, about women's leaders, tools.
Exactly.
Miriam the prophet, Deborah the prophet, the judge and strategic. Okay, she said to Barak what to do. Go there, see the mountain.
She was the strategist.
Of course. So and why we are not familiar with the tools? I'm talking about leadership tools, not only for women, also for men.
Of course.
Because we see the situation here in Israel, other places, Jewish communities, other countries, and we need to bring the knowledge from our mothers, our grandmothers, even our daily life, how to do this, solve that, after 2 years of war, how to make the change.
How to heal. Aliza, I want to ask you two things. One is, how do you think society in Israel, which you and I know, unfortunately, can be a little bit chauvinistic, how can we bring more women in decision-making positions? You were there. What are the barriers that we need to get over to bring more women into politics, into major decision-making tables?
In these days, in our situation, it should be by understanding that we need more women. I did the legislation in the level of the municipality.
Yeah.
It means that every list,
Needs to
have, if they want to get help from the country.
Yeah.
So it means if you have 3 women in the first 10 names, you
get more money. You get a monetary incentive.
Yes, and it's help unbelievable in the level of the municipality.
Yeah. Well, I'm one of the beneficiaries of that.
You're okay.
I ran for office
I know.
twice. I was a deputy mayor for 6 years.
Okay.
And that was definitely part of it.
And it's made the change.
Yes.
In the level of the parties, in the parties that run to the election to the Israeli parliament, I didn't succeed. I have the legislation, I put it on the table, and unfortunately...
They didn't want.
They didn't want, first, because of the ultra-Orthodox parties.
They don't want to commit to putting women on their list.
All right. And more than that, it's too complicated for many other reasons. So I think that we need to legislate a legislation, because we see that in the Knesset that I was, the 19 and the 20, it wasn't that long. We were much more women.
Yes, it's gone down.
Yes.
We're going backwards.
And see also in the offices, one general director.
One general director in the different ministries.
And, yes, you're right. And in other position in the other ministries and places. And now we have election in the Zionist movement.
But funnily enough, in the Zionist Congress, there is a law that says that 1 in 3 has to be women. And all of a sudden, the ultra-Orthodox have no problems finding women and integrating women into their lists, because otherwise they couldn't run.
Oh, so you see.
So they have no problem.
And if you mention this, don't forget that Herzl, yes, in the first Zionist conference, one, he said, we are going to invite women. We need women with us. He invited women, and also you wrote about this in the book. So he understood much earlier than other countries. Think about it.
I always say that Zionism was a feminist movement from the beginning.
From the beginning. And Herzl understood it from the beginning, and he insists, even though that he understood that some communities didn't accept, like you mentioned just now. But you see, when we have a legislation, and
when you have the rules, and that's the only way to run, they will run women. We have to make the rules. We have to change those rules. I
and
agree.
education, of course.
And of course, education.
And support women and give them the confidence and much more knowledge, like this book or... And I have, I open another site that called tfilatnashim.com together with the cards that I'm trying to bring. It's in English and in Hebrew, the site, both. And I ask people to share with me rituals, prayers, tools, women's tools, like we just spoke about Esther or Deborah. And we need it. We need to practice it, to add it to speech, to use it as examples in the class, or in the academic more, or even in the theater, to bring back the knowledge. It's not history lesson again. It's,
it should be part of our day-to-day. And that's why I really enjoy the tools that you've created. Essentially, you've created educational tools, and now you've translated them into English. Honestly, every Bad Mitzvah girl should be getting these cards as a present. Tell me what gave you the inspiration to decide to turn this into kind of an educational tool?
In the war.
In the war?
In the nights that I couldn't sleep, I thought to myself, what I'm going to do. My son was in the army more than a year and a half in Gaza, and my two sons-in-law, and many nights.
Go crazy.
Yeah. And on the other hand, I had many opportunities to meet many women here in Israel and out of Israel. And together we pray in different ways, and groups in the WhatsApp and in synagogues and in the square in Tel Aviv, and many places. And I realized that the old prayers, the old testimonies, and the old words much more touch the Israelis.
Is there something unique about women's prayers?
Much more intimate, dialogic, not far. It's very close to your hearts. And from the first minute, you feel that you're familiar with the words. Maybe it's here when you remember your granny and the words, and something you can't speak or tell in words. It's, you feel that you're familiar with. And also Haggadah, when the first people came to me and told me, and the first Seder that was in the hostages square, Aliza, I can't use the Haggadah. How can we speak about redemption when our brothers...
You have slaves and you have people captured.
Yes. So again, I went to different periods in our life, in the Holocaust and Inquisition, and took Haggadot that were written in bedtimes by women or for women from back of the memories. And I created as a Haggadah from memories, and it's touched the people, and then open hearts to continue reading the Masorti Haggadah.
The traditional
Haggadah,
which is the Passover book that we use.
And I think that redemption is everywhere, even in your private, intimate moment with God. And when you speak for yourself, and also always, all the women speak for Am Yisrael and for redemption and for good days. And I think this is it's something that give us,
I think you're right. My grandmother from Morocco was never taught Hebrew. She was not taught Hebrew. Women weren't taught Hebrew. Only men were taught Hebrew in Morocco. And she had her own way of communicating with God. She was a very spiritual woman, a religious woman, who couldn't read a book in Hebrew, but she had her own way of praying.
She spoke with God with her words, like my granny. My granny came from Afghanistan to Jerusalem, 1920. My granny, on one hand, didn't know how to write or how to read, but she knew everything by heart. She spoke with God, Creator. She went to the synagogue together with her friends, and when the Baal Koreh, the Chazan, the men that lead the tefillah, made mistakes, so
she would correct them
from the balcony, correct him, and they say thank you.
Yeah.
So maybe they didn't know how to write, but they knew everything by heart. And I'm trying to bring it back, because when we speak in our days about identity, belonging, how come that in our generation people feel alone, not connected, not part of? Think about
Community.
our mother knew how to hug.
Well, women have always been the center of a community, haven't they? At least center of the family that then creates a center of a community.
Yes, also in the last 2 years, you saw many activism and that lead by women. On the other hand, when it comes to the media, so the atmosphere was and is about the male sections.
Yeah.
First, they have more budget to promote themselves,
Yeah.
and more than that, they have
Club.
yes.
A club. I've always said that in Israel there's two built-in disadvantages for women in public life or politics. One is the army, because how many women generals are there? And once you're a general, you go straight into politics. They put out the red carpet. And so women have less opportunities because they don't advance in the army in the same way. And the second is religious. You know, when I was running for office and all the men running for office would go to rabbis, the rabbis would give them a hug, would shake their hand, they'd take a picture. A woman has not the same resource with a male rabbi. And so those two disadvantages play against women. And so I think the work that you're doing is so important. You're basically bringing back the value of the place of women, ironically, in traditional sources, which was very important, much more important than people think, and also developing tools to go back to this kind of personal and intimate prayer of women.
And another point that I would like to share with you is the fact that people are looking for spirituality.
You're right.
And unfortunately, some taking it and adopt it from other culture and religion. And my yoga teacher, I practice yoga.
Yeah.
10 years. And
wow.
When my yoga teacher, I use tefillot, prayers from others,
Eastern religions.
Yes, I told her, Anat, why? We have it. She said, I'm not familiar with. Yeah. So please see, we have it here. We have it in our language. We have it in our tradition. Other people use it. At least try. And since Sanat, my teacher, became familiar with, so she said, how come that I didn't know? So like bat mitzvah and wedding and etc. People in the Israeli society, in the Jewish society are looking for more rituals. See what's happened with the Farshat Challah. Yeah. Suddenly,
everybody's doing the Challah.
What is this? I mean, I can tell you on one special program about the Challah as a, litmus paper for what is going on. People want to touch the all the rituals,
traditions.
The traditions. People are looking for touch something. So we have it. We bring it back.
Access it.
And don't give it from...
We don't need to adopt other.
Yes.
Well, this is the work that you've done, I think, is incredible. You've written a number of books on female Jewish prayer. You've written a book on Jewish female icons. And now
Jewish women's prayer.
And women's prayer. Now you've developed these tools, these educational tools to connect to different prayers from that are traditionally from women of all backgrounds from many years ago and even less. I honestly think the work that you're doing is completely unique, needed. And in this show, which is all about promoting women's leadership and women's voices, we're very honored to have you here sharing with us your experience and your knowledge, and please keep doing it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
tfilatnashim.com.
tfilatnashim.com. You heard it here. Thank you, Dr. Aliza Lavie.
Thank you so much.